website
Mm-hmm.
from a resident. He seemed to like it,
Mm-hmm.
but he said it was very hard to find. I actually had to point it out to him. He didn't see it there. I don't know if there's any way, some sort of logo or something, a little more bold or something, people can actually see it. I mean,
It's under like all the
Yeah.
main,
yeah, I know, but you look there and it's like, it can get lost in everything. It
because
just-
that's
just
the
some
selectmen are
feedback.
gonna wanna change the entire format. I mean, you know, you start doing
Well-
different colors and stuff, and I don't know.
All right, we can note it, yet have that person drop a line to Loretta,
Okay.
because they're the ones that will review it. Becky is the one that, per them, puts it in.
Okay.
So we'll note it, and it's brought to our attention. Have that person leave a message for Loretta or call and speak to Loretta during the business hours. And that can be addressed through them.
Was that their only issue?
Yeah, they said it, I actually had to tell them it was there twice. He said, I don't see it, they don't see it. I mean, you read every line, you can find it, but it doesn't pop out or anything, and I think that's what some people may be looking for. I don't know if the businesses, if that's what they look for, or if they know it's there or something like
No,
that.
I did, when I looked for it, it was a little bit of work. I thought it'd be on the front page.
It is.
Huh? Is it?
It's right on the left-hand side of the home page.
No, I'm not in the home, it
On the
wasn't.
home page.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah,
It's
it-
under
that-
with
I
police,
looked at it.
fire, all the main.
I looked at it right after Bill said he was going live with it, and I haven't looked at it since.
It's right on the
Yeah.
home page. I mean,
I-
you can't, it's under the major links on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
yeah, because I noticed CERT, I think is.
Sir, I added cert,
Yeah.
they wanted a page,
Yeah.
they wanted a
Okay.
link.
We'll get it addressed one way or the other, and if that person can, we can call it in. Anything else? Alrighty, one thing I'd like to bring to everybody's attention, again, Mr. Burrell is here tonight, which is fine. He does audio and video. Mike, tonight, what is your intent? Do you have a copy of the agenda?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Okay, what is your intent to audio and video, please?
I like to do everything,
Everything.
yeah, yeah. So from-
Okay.
Yeah,
With that noted, as I did last week, I'll inform those who are present for the public hearings and/or anybody else that walks in, which is your right and my right to do so, your right to video and audio. One thing this evening though, if a person wishes not to be heard or videoed, I'm gonna ask you to turn the camera off and point it away, okay? That way we know it's off, for sure. And also, if a board member wishes to speak, and there are a few board members who wish not to be audio or video, turn it off until their comments have been made and answered, okay?
okay, I believe I understand that. Is there, which specific, if you don't mind asking, which specific board members do not want to be on camera?
You'll find out when it's done. I don't have to give that.
Oh,
By
okay.
law, I do not have to specifically state, okay? By
Yeah.
law, I have to let you know,
Right, okay.
okay?
All right,
And as
no
I've said, and we've agreed, as I've said all the way through,
Yeah.
it's on me. You can keep it on me.
Right, yeah.
Yet, if a board member, if the comments are made and board members wish not to have it done, I'll just say, Mike, turn it off and turn it to the left, please, or Mr. Burrell, we'll keep it professional.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All right,
thank
same as
you.
before. All right, no problem.
And then you
Thanks.
can pick it right back up
Yeah, no, I
and
understand.
continue on with it,
Yeah, okay, just making sure I understand,
I
that's
will
all.
not deny you the right to do it,
Right, yeah.
just specifically for the person or board, okay?
Right, all right, thanks.
That's great, we have an understanding. We got a couple minutes here. With that understanding, the 6:15 hearing, 263 for Mike Andrews. Any questions on that, folks? You need a copy of anything? Do we have anything that, questions you'll have, we'll hold that. But everybody should have copies, right?
Yeah, what is, that's 6:15.
Okay, well, we'll have them.
So do you wanna do, minutes real quick, or?
Yeah, let's go through the minutes, please. February 4th, please.
Mark's still in Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am expecting Roger Woods though.
Okay.
Because I'm not doing all this
Oh,
stuff.
sure.
All right, everybody have an opportunity to review? Any questions on the minutes of February 4th? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes of February 4th as written?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes of February 4th as written.
Motion made, second.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Again, no conversation needed, everybody understands. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Becky, payroll. Excuse me, is there a motion to accept the payroll for Becky's share of $114,15,
Make a motion to pay Becky $114.50.
Motion made, second.
Second?
Second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Melissa, will you hold it until the end, please? Thank you.
That's all on this hearing.
Is that T&G? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the accept the invoice with T&G for $168 for advertisement? That was for last week's, excuse me, public hearing on the Grabowski, the residents there. Motion for that.
Motion to pay T&G $168 for the, I'm looking up.
All right, motion made, seconded. Second. Second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? WB Mason, please. 7477. Motion on that. That's just for WB Mason supplies and stuff that we all share here. Go ahead.
I make a motion, oh, okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to pay the WB Mason invoice of $74.76.
Motion made, second.
Second.
All in, any questions? Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
You got this
Those are just
tonight?
minutes.
All right, you good, good, good. Becky, you have on that?
No, that was it.
Okay. I want Peter and Melissa each to have one other today.
Once a
Huh?
month.
One's enough for us, we aren't done fitting two in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little L.
And once you get it open, orientate it to what you're north and south, or whatever you folks do it.
What is this? Oh, Mark.
Up in the right-hand corner is the plot, if there's any
Is
questions.
your A and R plan, Roger, pretty much the same as what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just consolidating the parts.
Yeah, and it shows the,
Well, there's a street right behind it, so.
yeah.
Not for this.
No,
Well, it's actually,
odd.
well, it's two houses, huh?
I think the numbers,
Oh, we're doing it.
Yeah.
This parcel combined.
odd.
Oh,
Yeah.
Odd numbers are on one side of the
That's,
street.
right.
And even on
They
the
show
other.
there's
I could tell there's
storage on
no
that.
number,
Yes.
that's where the head.
Well, the house is all boarded up.
But just-
Right.
Just on that one.
They can
Yeah,
explain
yeah,
it
yeah.
if there's questions. Becky, all set? You have the Form A?
Right.
Very good. All right, what I'd like to do at this time, 6:15, open up the public hearing for special permit 263 for Mark Andrew, being represented by Mr. Bertram tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. On 50 Southbridge Road, the applicant has proposed to demolish the demolition of a residential dwelling and reconstruct the property with storage sheds or a storage facility. Mr. Bertram, you have the floor.
Thank you, and for those of you board members who do not remember me, my name is Damian Berthume. I represent Mark Andrews. Mr. Andrews is the owner of property on Southbridge Road, Warren, for which we seek a special permit tonight. With me is Roger Woods, who is an engineer. He's prepared some plans for Mr. Andrews that you have in front of you. As you suggested, the reason that we're here tonight is seeking a special permit and a site plan approval concerning the demolition of a house that Mr.
You guys can sit, go ahead, please.
purchased.
Be comfortable.
I'm more comfortable
You're used to
standing,
doing
if that's
that.
okay. I'm used to standing up, I
Everything
guess.
else, You got it.
So we're here to talk about the demolition of that house, hopefully the construction of a new self-storage facility adjacent to the existing self-storage facilities that Mr. Andrews owns at that site. And what I'm going to do to start is yield the floor to Mr. Woods in order to give him an opportunity to describe what he has identified on the plan proposing this development so that the board can ask questions about that. Once we've done that, then I can talk about some of the legal issues involved in the special permit.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods, how are you?
Roger Woods. If you're not familiar with the site, this is just a picture of the existing parcel now.
That's where we are now.
Pass that along.
And that would
This
be
is the
the house.
existing storage buildings over in,
Yep.
right around the corner here, and the existing house that's looking to knock down.
Sure, I'll pass that for you, sir. Go ahead.
The site is currently, it's on two separate parcels. Number 50 is our existing house still looking to demolish. And as part of the, also as part of the approval of the site plan, but it's also need to consolidate the parcels as one large parcel. Right now, the storage units are on one parcel, and the house is on a separate parcel, and if this goes through, then the A&R plan will consolidate those two as one conforming lot. It's its own village business. What they're looking to do is the building itself will be the same building as there now, as far as the style of it, colors, shape, manufacturer. I do have a floor plan that Mr. Andrews has provided. He's out of town tonight, that's why he's not available. Pretty typical storage units, it's there now.
That's what's there now?
That's what's
And
there
that's
now.
what we'll-
Oh, that's what's being proposed in this new.
Proposed,
There's
okay.
two different sizes.
Yes, there are, down
Yeah,
there.
this one here that he's proposing is a 30 by 80.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the floor plan layout. This, the same as the other buildings, there's no eating, there's no living in them, there's no plumbing, no sanitary facilities, anything like that. As far as the site, what he's looking to do, right now there's on the existing division line, there's a chain link fence that divides the parcel from the storage units from the house now. What he's looking to do is remove that, extend it over to the property line and around the backside. They're kind of fencing the property.
Of course.
The entrance will be the same. We're not going to be, creating a new curb cut to get on and off the property. And the same thing, the gravel that's there now is going to be also similar to what's being proposed around the new one. There is drainage on site now. There's catch basins in the center of the property. In between each unit, all the water flows into those now, including where the house is, it's going to be demolished. So actually, at the end of this, there should be less runoff even than what's there now, because right now it's overgrown lawn, grass,
plus the impervious roof area. And the new building will be, of course, the rooftop is impervious, but the grading and things like that are all gonna be the same around it. You know, it's still gonna be pitched the same way to the catch basins that are there now. And also afterwards the same. Fencing, lighting, everything's gonna be same, no added additional signs. He has one sign for the parcel just on the face of the building. And,
It's not much of a grade there anyway.
nothing's gonna be, no, it's relatively a flat site.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna continue that and extend that same scheme for adding one more unit of
Are the lights on the buildings or around the perimeter, or
Um,
not? Doesn't
there-
look like
no.
yours. I don't think
No,
there
there's
is
no,
any
I believe he has one on a telephone pole, if I remember right, on a pole kind of facing the units, from the street facing it back, back toward the units. The units themselves don't have lighting or anything like that on them, not that I'm aware of.
And he's not proposing adding any more lighting?
Nothing that would be, if there's, I'm not sure if there's wall units or not, that I'm not 100% sure. If there's wall unit, if it's gonna continue the same scheme, if there is. I don't believe that there are, but like I said, I think there's a general flooding of the
Our
site.
concern always is making the lighting face down, so it's not intrusive to the neighbors, that's about
Sure.
all we really ask for.
If you got any questions, or
Same height,
same building.
same building,
Yeah,
same
they're
height,
about-
pitch,
They're
everything?
between 12 and 14 feet high.
Yep.
Yeah, just a single story. What he tells me as far as elevation wise, what the building looks like, exact same building.
Questions? Sue?
I don't have a question, just that it'll look better without the house there.
It's been like that for a long time.
And it's still standing.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah,
More than that.
yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that house is a parcel that the town took for taxes.
Yeah.
Subsequently sold.
When
to
they,
the neighbors.
when you thought about expanding the site, I always thought that would have been great right there.
It does fit in with the rest
It
of it.
fit, I mean, it really does, it fits in.
I think it accomplishes a few things for the town as well. That particular lot on which the house is located is presently a substandard lot. By adding that lot to this one, the town gets a conforming lot in the downtown village where storage facilities are permissible by a special permit under section 3.25.1. There's sufficient frontage for it, there is sufficient square footage, like I said, and you go from a site that's likely been costing the town money, not generating any tax revenue, to a commercial development in the commercial area of town that's basically in addition to a site that this board has already deemed to be appropriate for a storage facility. So it seems to be in harmony with the neighborhood. In terms of traffic or the overall effect on the neighborhood, I think the board's already visited that issue once with the prior permitting of this use of a self-storage facility. And realistically, this is not a site that people would likely be coming to and from every day. The nature of storage is to put things there, I think, and coming with them as you need them. It's not a retail establishment where you'd be expecting customers and parking. So I think that's not particularly a concern. As I said, the facility itself, going through the special permit criteria, seems to be consistent with the neighborhood and consistent with the purposes of the zoning bylaw, just based upon the fact that it is identical in terms of the building and in terms of the use to what's on this neighboring parcel. And we also have the car wash directly across the street, which is an additional commercial use. So it seems to be an appropriate use for the lot. It seems to benefit the town by taking a non-conforming structure and a non-conforming lot, turning it into something that's conforming when you join all of them together. Generates a bit of tax revenue for the town. And I think if you look at the plan as proposed, Mr. Woods can speak to this more than I can, but that plan, I believe, shows the proposed location of the new building, for the most part, within the envelope of the building that's already there. Certainly it extends further to the rear, but we're not really encroaching any further into the side yards or any further into the front than the building is already there. It's going to be lower than the building that's up as well, so it should have no impact on views to any of the neighbors. And I think it's an appropriate use of this site.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
within the proposed new building, there's some hash marks or dotted lines. Is that that's the existing house at this time? These
That's
hash
right.
marks right here?
That's correct, this is the footprint of the existing
That's the
house.
footprint for those that I'm bringing up. That's the house that's there now.
And the garage.
And-
There's a garage, it's tucked away in the back corner.
Okay,
up
yeah,
against-
right there, there's that little,
right
in the
against the
far
property line.
left-hand corner. All right, so that's the garage.
This-
The building's
that
gonna
line is the
consume, be
footprint of the
set
existing
back
house, and the garage is
from where the house
tucked
is
away
in
the back
line,
corner.
in line with the other two buildings. So as Mr. Wood said, Mr. Berthium said, it's all gonna be within the same, it'll be just one extended rectangle.
It's in the same area, but the new building will also meet the setbacks.
Yes.
For that zone.
Well, that was where it's gonna go next.
Presently, the garage doesn't, but in fact,
Yeah.
a portion of the garage is
Yeah.
really open.
Again, it's gonna be the same gravel you said.
Gravel, yes,
Yeah,
yeah, there'll be
gravel.
no paving,
Yeah.
no. No, there is a paved entrance
Yes, there is.
off, the curb cut off, but then the rest of the site is gravel.
And you did same exit, which is this, entrance, which is the same exit.
That's correct.
So it'll just be a circle. And in
That's right.
between, however you wish to grab it.
Yeah, he's not gonna widen the entrance.
Mhm.
In fact, there'll be a short section of chain link fence across a portion of the front,
Mhm.
so the traffic will not, will continue to come in off that same
Yeah,
entrance.
came in and go out.
There's
the
a
same.
short section of fence along it.
Yeah, to extend the other. Okay. Peter,
I'm good. I think it's great. That's my opinion. Best use for the site.
Melissa?
I'm all set.
Very good. So,
I'm set with it.
Ed,
All set.
one other question. Becky, does conservation get a copy of this?
They got a copy, the only, border committee that I heard from was, the Board of Health, and they had no issues with it, so.
No issues whatsoever?
No, I
Do we
mean,
have
it's
that
not gonna
already?
be- Yes.
From them? Very good. All right, and conservation?
Yeah, they're out of the wetlands, but.
No,
Understood.
just, you know,
I mean,
wanna
it's
make
one of
sure
our
that,
departments that we send it to, which
Makes sense.
hopefully we get something back, you know, a blessing, but
and again,
no opposition. And Mr. Burrell is here on behalf of, one of the abutters, which he made part of the record, so Michael.
Yeah.
stand by. Who's the abutter and what lot are they, Mike, please?
Yes, it's Mary Belrose, 65 Southbridge Road. I believe it's, must be,
Right on
it
the
would
corner.
On
be,
the corner?
yes, on the corner
Of-
across
of
the street.
Parkview. She's on the right-hand side?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, go ahead. What is,
Yeah,
who's this to?
this is to you.
To the board or to the applicant?
No, to you,
Okay?
to you, yeah. And she's got a hard copy of it, so.
Mr.
That's just basically two,
Yeah,
Mike, stand by one. Mr. Bertram, you get a copy?
yeah, I just let him read them.
All right, let Mr. Bertram read it for a sec, Mike.
oh, that's fine,
Okay,
sure.
and then we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Hold yourself a moment.
Okay.
Okay. If you have a rebuttal, you'll be, or Mr. Whitman?
I have no objection to
Okay.
being read in.
Mike, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's actually a letter of support, so.
Sure.
So it says, two members of the planning board regarding A&R 50 Southbridge Road / Mark Andrews, parcel numbers 162. As I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting, I request the members of the board allow Mr. Burrill to read a brief statement on my behalf of myself and my family, and Mary Belrose signed it and dated it. Next page is basically the letter. February 4, 2005, to the attention of the Town of Warren Planning Board. As the legal responsible party for 65 Southbridge Road, I would like to express my opinions on the use of 50 Southbridge Road, parcel number 162. This property has been an embarrassment for the town for too many years. Not only has it been an eyesore, but it's a bonfire waiting to happen, which could put our firefighters, police, and neighbors in jeopardy. Mr. Andrews expressed his interest in this property over 7 years ago to me, and finally he has the opportunity to acquire it. As a resident who is close proximity to the self-storage facility, I can attest to the fact that you can't ask for nicer neighbors as they are. No loud parties, no piles of trash left outside, no barking dogs or screaming families. Landscaping has always been kept up. His location provides an ideal location for yard sales. It has plenty of off-street parking, a bonus for Warren. And most importantly, the business pays taxes to our town, and this expansion will increase that amount. I cannot find one credible reason as to why his request should be denied. Mary Belrose, on behalf of Nellie Obertuck, 65 Southbridge Road, Warren, Mass. 01083, and signed by Mary Belrose.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You would thank her if you see her. Becky, so noted. We'll keep that copy with it.
Yep, part of the
All right, with that, you get support of the neighbors across the street. One verbally, which is, I usually don't get, so this is great. With that, Mr. Berthium and Mr. Woods, any comments on prior to closing or prior to the discussion right here with the board?
If there are any comments made in opposition, I'd just like an opportunity to rebut them, but,
Without a doubt. And I'll ask right now, is there anybody present here this evening who just walked in, who's here for the special permit for 26350 South Bridge Road? Hearing none, we're all set there, okay? All right, with that, with the board, you have it in front of you now. It's been expressed in favor by one of the abutters. Mr. Woods has gone through everything. Mr. Berthium has explained the other part of it. Any comments, any other comments from the board? All right. Peter, at this time, how would you like to handle it?
I think we should close.
Would you like to close it at this time? All right. Sue, favor of closing? Melissa? Ed? All right, at this time, we'd like to close the public hearing at 16:30 or 18:30.
Make a motion that we
And the
close
motion be made.
close the hearing for R15-01, site plan approval app number 27.
Motion made?
Second.
Second. Any other comments from the board? Mr. Woods, Mr. Berthium, thank you for coming. All in favor?
Aye.
Public
You know the
hearing is
drill.
closed. The plans will be held and we'll get in touch with you.
About
Okay.
the decision,
The decision has to, the
no, I
decision is
understand,
made.
so the notice just took was,
just to close it.
Just to close the meeting at this time. No further discussion. There was no public, we have your input, the abutter and the boards. You've heard everything here right now.
understood.
And then we have up to 90 days to make a decision, which, again, Becky controls that, but as far as the board is concerned, there were no nays on it or anything else. We all, wish that it goes forward.
We have some other items on the agenda tonight, but
Yep.
we can hang on to these, sign these afterwards if that's okay. And then
Let
we'll move that along.
Mr. Andrews, let Mark know that we'll have a decision for him in the next couple of weeks. But we have no
Yep.
problems with
You
it
have
at
to
all.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
That's on the special
40.
permit and the site plan.
Yes.
Both of them, okay? No questions on either. None of them. Thank you for coming in, folks. At this time,
We'll have to check.
Becky gets the paperwork together here.
Okay. All right, well, we'll sign this after, when you get a minute. Okay.
Hang on to you. If you
I
wanna
don't
hang on
see
to
it,
the
Mark,
plans
I
until we
mean,
make a
Roger,
decision, please.
so, because I think
Michael, thank you.
that's
Yeah, for
for
now.
the site
Yeah.
plan and the special permit.
Thanks.
Yes, and your name?
Wesley Bliss.
Who's gonna start? It's open. Where are we going? Conservation wants to
All right,
start?
well,
Mr. Malin wants to start? Where are we going?
Kurt's not here, he's
Kurt's not here, so.
running behind.
Who's
Not
got the
yet.
cards?
No, Alana and Wes are here for him.
Okay,
Oh,
folks,
all right.
How you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, Kurt's running behind.
He's
That's
running a
fine.
little behind. Okay, well, I think that we are having a joint meeting because we have, between the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board, we have two different sets of plans. Their set of plans has basins on it, and our set of plans that we approved do not have basins on it. Which is a problem because we wouldn't have approved those basins because of the location. And we are just interested in coming up with some type of, either basin removal or you'll have to go through the process of resubmitting an NOI for conservation.
Now, my understanding, there was an RDA approved,
Right, with a different set of
of a
plans.
different set of plans. Now, have you seen the new set of plans?
I've seen, well, yes, but
All right, so I guess the question then, and just so we get clarification, is the basins are all located at a 100-foot buffer zone.
they are located, do you have the plans?
I don't have the copy of the plans.
Becky, do
I can run down again.
I'll go down again.
So there is one
Okay.
set of plans where the basin, literally, the exit point for the water is exactly at the 200 foot riparian zone. So as soon as that water goes over the edge, it is jurisdictional for conservation.
Okay.
And it would need to be moved away so the exiting water doesn't go into the riparian zone.
Okay, so right now, all the stormwater goes to the river now. If it
Right.
currently exists today, before the development goes there. So after the development goes there, the stormwater still needs to go to the stream.
It still does need to go to the stream. It is right on the hairy
And
edge.
so that's fine, so is there a distance that you would prefer from the riparian zone? I guess that's the easiest way to do it,
Sure.
because the water still needs to go in that direction.
It does. You know what the thing is that with our experience in the past with various basins, is that the basins, no matter how they're designed, eventually the water starts eroding the soil right after it, and so we would have encouraged even a movement of 15 to 20 feet just to allow additional space. I mean, it ends and there's no visual for, riprap or exiting of the water. It just ends.
Well, there is a riprap pad proposed on it. and-
There is, there wasn't really much detail on the plan that I had seen. Do you remember that?
I know there's some cross sections of the basins on one of the plans, and so just so for record is, I work for Whitman Bingham Associates. We didn't draw the plans that you're looking at.
Okay,
We've been retained by Altus Power, who's working with Kurt Malin and his company to develop the site.
okay,
And so we are their site engineer. And so I have looked at the plans, so I am familiar with the plan. And so if you need additional details, we can provide you with additional details with regards to the riprap plans. And now, that's what I'm asking, is if you want the basins moved further back from the riparian zone, that's something we can work with you on.
okay,
But the need for the basins came from the regulations that the planning board has.
right.
And to be honest with you, they're pretty much a necessity for this project, because you're cutting down trees, you're putting in basically a meadow, there's a change in the land surface, and that basins are basically required. Obviously, we're trying to protect the downstream abutters with these basins. I obviously, through Kurt, have heard your concerns with basins.
Right.
And I know, just working on a number of other projects, I know, if a contractor doesn't construct them properly, they can be an issue. But with here, it's a private development. Maintenance is required by the applicant. It's not being done by the public or by the DPW or anything like that. So there's a little more surety there that, the planning board conditions can kind of cover that too.
Right.
And so that's what I'm just asking, what distance would you like? If it's 15 feet, we can see if we can move the basins further back, 15 feet.
One of the other questions, as everybody's talking about movement and basins, the biggest question, I think, is how come there were two sets of plans?
So the original set of plans, because everything was out of the 100-foot buffer zone, the 200-foot riparian zone, the original set of plans that were developed for Mr. Malin didn't include any stormwater, because they were out of the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, basically. The thought there was supposed to be no stormwater impacts.
Okay.
But because of the regulations that this board has, the planning board, there are requirements for stormwater management
Okay.
with regards to your regulations, and that's where that came from. Because once the application came in front of the planning board, then the need for the basins arose. And so that's why there's two sets of plans. The original set of plans that was approved by the Conservation Commission under the RDA, then came in front of the planning board, and then obviously the plans were revised under the planning board review and Graves Engineering review to include the basins.
It came in.
Yeah, that was something Jeff had.
Yeah,
And so the initial plans that you guys had
right.
submitted to you had no basins, were the same plans that they approved.
Mhm. Okay. All right, because that's what the whole.
And so that's where the
issue is.
disconnect is,
It's
yep.
not an issue, it's just that.
No, and that's understandable, yep.
That disconnect or whatever.
Yep.
As long as we're satisfied by what we have, it's having you folks, and we thank you for coming this evening, but just getting everybody on the same sheet so that the
Yeah.
process doesn't have to
Right.
begin again.
And so that's why that's from Mr. Malin's standpoint, is because he thought the way it was designed, everything was out of the 100-foot buffer zone and the 200-foot riparian zone, he didn't need to go back in front of the Conservation Commission. Obviously, possibly an error on his side, because, anything within the buffer zone or anything in the resource area under the jurisdiction of the commission hadn't really changed in the two plans.
Very good, so with that,
And also the word, right here I'm looking, I'm not even seeing the the repairing the 200-foot.
Yeah, so here's the 100-foot, here's the 200-foot.
Here's the 200-foot.
200-foot is this dash line here. Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Tim, you are right. So it was right.
Yeah, and so,
Here. So we were like, all right, so how do you, where are you gonna work, and can you work without getting,
Yep, and so typically what they would do is you can see here, you see this, so the dash line here is the 200-foot riparian zone.
yep,
And the more solid line here
yep,
is the limit of the erosion control barrier. And so I think what they're calling for is either hazel and silt fence or like I don't know if it was agreed on the straw wall or whatever the agreed upon erosion control barriers would be right along that 200-foot riparian zone and the 100-foot wetland buffer zone.
right.
So you couldn't go into the buffer zone
Mhm.
there. Here it's a little further away from the buffer zone, where here you can see there's a solid line here that's further away from the buffer zone. And so that's the intent there, is to allow for the erosion control barrier to act as the limit of construction.
Right.
And so they would only go up to that limit of construction. And so, as this, I don't know what was written into the RDA decision. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, it was just because there was no basins on here. I mean, ultimately, from the DEP's perspective, if there is no point source, then there's no need for, if there is no point source, there is no need to create one, even if you eliminate the trees.
I'd have to disagree with that, I guess, from that standpoint is, if you have an increase in the peak rate of runoff, you need to mitigate that peak rate of runoff. The detention basin is one of the allowed BMPs.
Right.
Underneath the stormwater management.
It is, I mean, it is,
And
but
so-
it's still considered,
Oh, I don't disagree that it creates a point source discharge.
it
And
agrees, yeah.
But that's always the fight you have, no matter what kind of BMP really you use on a lot of these projects. If it's an underground detention system, an underground, any kind of real system that you see, be it a swale, you end up having a pipe that creates that point source discharge, and that's always the fight you have with anything. And that's why we end up having the protection with riprap pads and being sized properly.
Right.
And so that's why,
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that's not their standard, that's not what they're saying.
well,
They're,
in an ideal world, yeah, it'd be great not to have the basin, but because there's such a change in surface condition, there's such a large area of change in surface condition, there's nothing else you could do other than do some kind of BMP, be it a detention basin or underground detention, or something along those lines. Because of the soil type, you're not gonna get, you're not gonna put an underground recharge system in because you're not gonna get what you need out of it. So a detention basin is what ends up being used on a site like this. And so, again, with regards to the point source discharge and the armoring of the outlets, that was all reviewed by Graves Engineering
Right.
on behalf of the planning board.
Right.
So,
it was.
when Princess Equipment obviously submitted the calculations and all the design for the outlets, they weren't just throwing it in front of the planning board and telling the planning board, this is what we're gonna do. Graves Engineering, who we do a lot of work with in other towns, looked at it and made sure that it was done properly.
I think it should be noted that at a recent informational meeting with DEP, and most of you guys were in attendance, and Mr. Graves, it was very clearly stated by DEP that if there's no point source, then you don't need to put in basins. And it was raised then that, well, okay, trees are going to be cut and we're on glacial till, so infiltration is not so good. But still, even then, there's always, glacial till is always fractured. That doesn't allow much infiltration. But there was no riding concern that if you put a basin right on the edge of the jurisdictional area, immediately that fails or doesn't control flow and sediments properly, then there's violation. Bang. No choice about it.
I don't disagree with you. It is.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. We've already had that discussion in-house about if you have a failure of the basin and you have an impact to the buffer zone and wetland afterwards, they know that automatically violation. I don't disagree with
Yeah, we've had a lot of experience in that area with all the solar sites in this town.
you. Yep. And I guess from that, I guess the hard thing is I don't know what. We could submit these plans to the Conservation Commission, and I don't know if the commission would like to revise conditions on the RDA or add conditions to the RDA, or how you would handle that if you would like us to request an amendment to the RDA.
Well, there would be a couple of things. I mean, they really are out of jurisdiction on the plans. So, and we've already approved the RDA,
Still holds.
so it's, you know, it still holds. I think that
Now,
we,
I read the decision, I don't remember the planning board decision. Do you have a copy of the planning board decision on you? I don't know if there's any, I guess, sureties with regards to the planning board decision and how that.
I'm still looking
That's,
for that.
that's only on the removal of the system.
Right. Well, I didn't know if there was any inspection of the base or anything like that.
No,
No, we
No.
don't,
Okay.
that question, not
no,
right
the
now.
surety is strictly for the removal of the panels.
And the basin itself, I'm looking, trying to find the,
So here's all the details of the basins.
George, you can use the desktop if you want.
just like the floor, this is what I do at home sometimes, right? Spread out. The detention basin is, what's the material that it's made of?
The berm on the downstream side will be like clay material, so it's an impervious core.
And
The
where do you
reason-
get that?
We get it from, some of the guys we get it from are the guys that use it for landfills. That's a lot of the people that have that type of material, and people, like, just basically any kind of yard, any kind of bigger yard would carry that. So like I said, a lot of the material is similar to what they use at landfills. And the reason they use that is so you don't have a failure on that berm on the backside of that, because you are filling up on a case like these basins, you're filling up. So you would have a clay material on the side, the downstream side of the basins.
Is that,
Is that specified on the plans?
I don't remember if it was specified in the plans, but I know it's gonna go in some of the other documents that we're providing for Altus Solar, Altus Power.
because it's, I thought it just said local material somewhere on that. The idea of clay, there we go. Is that general conditions property? So I suspect operation and maintenance plan, erosion control plan, these are general.
Yeah, you can check it.
One more?
I wish I had the details.
Do we have more details? Detention pond. Let's see, time. Let's see.
It doesn't say the issues, but like I said, what we, part of the documents that we're preparing for Altus Power includes that, and some of the talk about the clay berm on the back of the basin. Because what we're doing is we're preparing the NEPI's permitting for them,
Yep,
which includes the SWIP document.
yep.
So in that document, it talks about some of the materials to be used on site. And it talks about the detail for that berm and being a clay berm underneath the fill material.
Would,
And so typically when there's a notice of intent,
you're right.
part of the conditions of like an order of conditions would be that you see the SWIP document. I don't think that we don't have an issue with them getting a copy of the SWIP, right?
No.
I mean, that's something that we could provide you a copy of.
And we actually would like to have a copy of these plans.
Yep.
And we would like to have, I think we're gonna have we don't have quorum here to make a decision about how to proceed, but I would suspect that reviewing and adding, amending the RDA so we could put additional
Conditions, and that's something that I know, the
conditions.
RDA was filed.
It was approved.
It was through Housatonic.
Because it was based on, the RDA was based on another plan.
Yep, I understand.
And so we could either redo the RDA
Or just amend the decision you already did, correct?
and then, put additional orders. I don't know if it can be, sure,
You
why
can
not?
condition it on-
Why
you
not?
can
We could
condition
amend
it,
it,
yeah.
sure. I don't see why we couldn't do that. Based on this, what I would love to see is the clay
Yep.
core
Yep.
on the plans,
And that's why we.
not buried in a document somewhere, but,
And that's fine, we can provide you with a detail sheet showing details of the face and you know issues there, right?
And you've done it with sites that I've worked on with you in the past, so.
And I think to further emphasise that, at the point of construction, we would need to inspect that clay berm
Yep, and that's.
prior to it being covered by.
Right. No, just so you know, when we give them the specification of what that clay imperviousness needs to be. What we've done in other projects is either it's been clay or it's been a plastic liner over a
Right.
regular
Yeah.
material.
Yeah.
Either
Like
way,
they use
it
it on
provides, exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, it provides for that impervious
Sure.
barrier on the downside slope
Yeah.
of these basins.
But the clay provides solidarity to the berm.
Yeah, and,
So-
right, so the
So
problem
we've
with
ended
that.
up on occasions to have both a rubber.
Yeah, and then, right, and that's, so it's just like I said, we give them an impervious rating that they need to meet. Either
Okay,
by the clay or by the plastic barrier,
yeah.
is how that works, because depending on where in the state we are, it becomes more of a difficult to get the material here.
Yeah, I mean, Boston blue clay is perfect, and a lot of that goes on the landfills.
Right, and that's what
But out here, Springfield, maybe you'll find it.
Right, and that's what I know in a couple of other projects, I think they were using the barrier because we couldn't find it
Right.
more in this area of the
Yeah,
state, and so
yeah,
that's why.
it's tough out here.
Yeah, and that's why I know they were using the plastic barrier on it, but it still provides that same impervious level that we're looking for on the downside slope of the basin.
So between everything here that's been discussed mostly by you folks and everybody else, just making sure it's there. The plans that you have now are the plans that you will get a copy of with amendments to what you're asking for now, is that correct?
And we would have to write amendments to our,
You would have
we
to
would
write
write
amendments
additional
in,
conditions, yeah.
and based on the conversation Becky's been noting now, correct?
Right, exactly.
So with that, is everybody satisfied that everything will be on the same sheet of music now?
What do you think about the basin? I mean, ideally, we would like to see that basin moved back. How much of an,
It would be, this is the closest one here.
yep, the other one's fine.
Yeah, because the other one's where you have.
Yeah, the other one's fine.
And I can take a look at, if maybe we can like make it longer and skinnier or something like that, and draw it back 15 feet or however, just get the same volume out of it, so.
Yeah, I mean, you might consider additional riprap, a bigger
Yep.
discharge area.
Yep, and so, I'll take a look at what, just do a count on the riprap pads anyways to see. But it should have been, I think, in the report that was given to Graves, and so what I can do is make sure that you guys have all those documents too, that you have the review letter from Graves and.
Yeah.
And the water flow out of the discharge pipe, that's properly leveled and properly,
Right.
has the correct capacity.
Yep.
So it'll hit the riprap and not sort of blast away the sides.
Correct, and that's what I know,
Maybe they should be concrete lined.
a lot of times we call for the rock to be grouted in place,
Okay. I
where it's a
think-
little more rough, it's not a clean concrete, it's
Yeah.
more rough, so you get a little more dissipation of the energy.
I think that would be good.
That's what we've done.
Mr. O'Brien, why don't between you and the board members write up
Yep.
exactly what you want, get it to them, and then give them, you know, they're saying 2 or 3 days, give them until 2 weeks or a week to get it all in order, that way no one's going back and forth. We'll note it here, it's been agreed upon that that can be done that way. Then you have everything between the board, after talking tonight, they get a copy of it, and then it's all officially documented, and then you guys can talk back and forth with it. Yeah, you can, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
But that way they have it in writing from you, and as an amendment, they can review it, and you can have your conversations back and forth that way, through the board.
And
Can I
Becky?
ask Wes
And I
a
don't know if
question?
the planning board wants Graves to review that.
Again, now, if you feel you want Graves to review it, let us know, or call Graves.
Just so you know, we would prefer to keep it in one engineer's hand when it comes to review, because if you get more than one, some people like one way and the other people like the other way.
Seeing it started with Graves, well, it's gonna end up with Graves, yes. I mean, Graves will get the amendment and or the review, or whatever you folks are asking. Sure. We can do that. It could be a request right through. Beck, you have a question?
Yeah, just to Wes,
Well, we just have conditions, we just have to amend
if you
conditions.
provide them with some sort of a final plan that's different from the planning board,
Okay,
could you
we'll
just
get
give
to-
us
yep.
those sheets?
Yep, that's fine, yep. We'll
You
do the
know,
same
with a
thing, yep.
small narrative,
Yep.
that way
Yep.
our files jive with Concom.
All right, so.
we talk about, cement, bumpy cement.
Yeah, extent, width, repression.
Like four on the plan.
I can send us the list or something.
Oh, excellent.
You want to inspect at the time of construction? You want to inspect the core, the clay core at the time of construction?
Yes.
Anything, Mr. O'Brien, that you two people agree upon, as long as Becky gets a copy of it, then it's here also, and I'm
Yep.
sure it's just be a working, everything will get done, and then, we'll have it here based on the conversation tonight, although what you send out, and Graves gives back, we can put it in here too, okay?
Okay,
All right, perfect. All right, so Wesley, we will, we're having our meeting after this.
Yep.
We'll talk about this.
Okay.
Send you an email within the next few days, and then we can start a dialogue.
Sure.
Okay,
That works for us.
perfect. All
You
right.
wanna be on the chain of emails?
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Okay, so that should
Okay,
at least get the
perfect.
ball rolling and put everything in that circle again. Mike's sitting back there going, what's going on next, I know, but hopefully it's gonna get going.
distance of discharge,
I'm sure it will.
resource area.
Okay, the conservation will keep that copy of the plans, you guys have an understanding, and that's all set?
This is good, yeah. We'll get back to you after our meeting tonight.
Thanks for coming in, folks, all right, we
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a good night.
thank you. Moving on. Okay, you all set?
Mr. Bowdre.
Mr. Bowdre, thank you for your patience. We had it all, look what goes on in this town. You've been here how many years? Now look at what's going on.
Those are your plans, huh? These are the plans, okay.
We have an A&R for Mr. Bowdre, Bob. Tonight, we'll take a look at him. Mr. Bowdre, we need at least 3 copies, right, Beck?
Yep.
Yeah, 3 copies. The Form A and a Mylar, which you will keep. Why don't you take a seat right there, Mr. Bowdre, so you don't have to go hobbling around there. All right, Mr. Bowdre, what you're showing is lot A-1 that we're trying to work with here this evening on Old West Warren Road, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Square footage is 36.4. Well, what do we plan on doing with it?
Nothing, just as a buffer zone, to keep co-pots from building right back to my, back of my house.
All right, if you look, Copats is up in the top right.
Co-pots is up in the back of
All right, Copats and butts, Mr. Bowdre, he's
Yeah.
protecting what he has now, okay?
Oh, you're buying this?
Yes, I'm buying.
Yeah.
That's the next question.
From Fidgel Estate. But the
Mhm.
problem is, the rumor is that Copart is working a deal with John Fidgel to buy the old house back and give this lot to Copart, which would put them right on my doorstep. And with the car carrier we
Yep.
have going by the house now, I won't want to go through the side of it.
I found one lost up on Coy Hill.
Pardon me?
I found one of them lost up on Coy Hill. And I kept trying to tell him how to get back, and he wouldn't listen to me. I said, what?
We've had them go right by the top of Coy Hill to the turnaround, back up and drop the trailer, the car carrier trailer over the edge.
Yeah, I believe it.
And he sat there for 7 hours until Sturbridge came.
But, I mean, the traffic we got there is
And-
real from car
yeah.
carriers and junk cars. But it's a non-buildable lot, as you
Yep.
can see.
Yep.
The reason I'm not tying into the lot I have now is because the lot that I have now is in a trust fund, which is 7 years old.
Okay.
And I'm told if I open it up to
Open it
that
up.
property, then I'm
Yep.
gonna have to start over again.
That's right, your trust fund's gone, you have to restart the whole wax. Yep.
That's the reason it's going to be a separate lot.
All right, everybody here tonight looking at the plan, the four of us. Everybody understand what Mr. Bowden just explained to the board? Is there any questions on what's been drawn by Richard A. Lewis Surveying Company? Any questions on the boundaries, any questions at all? It's not a buildable lot, it's just acreage that's being bought, 36,453 in square foot to protect. Peter?
I'm good, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Protect your property like
Yep.
that, that's, doesn't get any better.
Okay, Ed?
No questions.
Susan?
All set?
Melissa? All right, so everybody understands it, everything's cleared in view, Mr. Bowden presented it, the Mylar's there, the Form A has been presented, and it is all correct. Is there a motion to accept the A&R presented by Bob Bowden this evening for Lot A-1, 36,453 square feet on Old West Warren Road?
I make a motion that we sign the A&R to Bob Audrey for Lot A1, 36,000.
As presented?
Yep.
Motion made. Second? Second. Any other questions? Any other discussion needed? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Take us a minute, Mr. Bowden, just to sign the forms, we'll pass them around and get your Form A. Today is the 11th, so if everybody wishes to date it to 11/15. Remember, the Form A, the Mylar has to be signed with that post-smudge B ink, so Mr. Bowlby doesn't get kicked out of the deeds office. Make sure you do that, please. And payroll signature too, because that has to be legible. And Ed, I don't know what you got there. I guess that's legible.
So that's how we sign our papers. If it's not legible there, then
Yeah. They say, did you look at the whole thing with,
No, I can, if you want a copy, I'll be glad to make you one.
I got a copy.
and sign the letter?
Yeah.
There's no letter. Where did you sign?
You shouldn't need it, but I'll give you a copy of it. You going to need me?
I laughed because, boy, I can remember.
No, actually, we'll
I
get
can
it.
remember guys
can't
getting.
be any words for the relatives, they can't read anything they write.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good job, look at the signature. Almost as bad, huh?
He's sitting there. Yeah.
That was my official line.
Guys don't put the date on here.
Nope. Sorry.
Good, I got Susan. Dave does not know what to do now. Oh, King, yeah, it's mine.
It was
That's-
rolled in,
that's
it was rolled in it.
It's actually Mr. Delansky.
It was rolled in it, I'm gonna say, I came with it.
All right.
I used to have in my own.
Ed, you got these and I'll go to Beck. And Mylar will. Hopefully everything works out and gets done as soon as you can for you. All right? conservation coming in here?
Don't we still have a, yeah, we gotta sign something.
Yeah, we can probably do that in
We
our
can do
office. I
that
don't think
in the
Cindy has
office
the key
instead.
for the FinCom room, so,
Oh, okay.
Keeping this,
and I don't have one.
next meeting date, Mr. Bovee, everything's there, Beck will give you what you need, okay? Thank you very much and good luck with it, okay? Sorry for your
Extra paper
patience,
copies.
thank you for your patience.
Extra paper copies in your mind.
All right.
That goes to the register. All righty?
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Next meeting is
Nice to
February
see both of
20th,
you. You guys behave.
is the 25th, right?
The 25th, Bill Scanlon's gonna come in, we're gonna talk about the lot sizes, the last discussion on that before
and
the
village.
informational meeting on March 11th. I gave you guys a copy of a draft for Drake Petroleum.
Yep.
You guys can take a look at it. If you have any questions or suggestions or catch anything on here, as far as conditions, please email me or call me or something. We'll have that set for the next meeting on the 25th.
Yeah, just hold that, take a look at it, and then
And then
Becky can
Bill,
get it.
yep, and then Bill left me the link for SurveyMonkey. He added some information, and I'll send it to you guys. You guys take a look at it. If you're happy with it, I'll put it on the website.
as soon as possible.
And, okay, and then we're gonna, Sydney, really good.
Motion to adjourn?
No, we're
no.
not leaving. We're gonna be in their office.
No.
What we're gonna do is
Can we just
recess.
recess for 5 minutes?
We're gonna recess for
Cindy, you're
5
staying
minutes,
in?
Adjourn.
Yeah.
and then we'll head down to the office at that time.
They're seeking a site plan approval
Okay.
for Route 67. So, public hearing February 23rd, if anybody's interested.
Okay. Now, let's go into other business. Other business can be a follow-up to what was discussed this evening with 263 Mark Andrews. Now, with that, Sue has a question reference to fencing. And my interpretation was from both of them, from Wood, that it was going to continue throughout and wrap around the whole facility,
Except in the front,
except in the front.
well, a portion of the front,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep the flow,
of traffic going
the
in
regular.
in the entrance and out. Sue, what was your interpretation of what your question?
A lot of these places, you see, they're totally fenced in, so they're secure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, because they had said that when the original one was built, they didn't put things like that in the order of conditions. So I thought,
Has there been any problems there?
no.
That'd be my first thing to say.
I don't think so.
It's, I think it's lit up there at night in that
I
corner
don't
from
think there's lights.
the car wash right in front. There's a
Oh.
street light in that whole
Yeah, well,
corner.
now it's gonna be up farther.
Well, he said that he might be putting some lighting around
Yeah, but it would be,
down.
Down.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll stipulate that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's steel structures. I mean, I don't see, unless you go in there with a set of torches, they cut one open.
Well, no,
He
it's
was
just
going to-
padlocks usually that people put on.
Yeah.
The biggest, and I don't,
But, you know, this was sent to the PD, and I didn't receive nothing back from them, so.
so as
if
far as
there was a lot
security,
of
we're not in
calls-
charge of security.
Yeah.
I would
You know what I'm saying?
assume, they would have said, based
You didn't
on
say it.
history,
Yeah.
you know, we respond up there so many times a year or whatever. Please take this in either cameras or something, but,
You were here, I believe. I don't think anybody else on the board was here. Remember when Bobby came in before this?
I was here.
There was a discussion about fencing.
But don't
Well, that's
forget,
fine.
that was, the
Right.
right of way was there.
Right, the
You
right of
couldn't
way was
swing
going
the
right
truck,
up-
the fire truck and.
Going right up through the, right up through the facility, there was a right of way. So how do you fence in a right of way?
Yeah, that's true.
And then if you ran the fence down either side of the
Yeah,
right of
there
way, you
is
can't
the
get
right-
into, you can't
That's
back
to
your
that
truck or car up into the steel facility that you're
One fence
in.
would be right along the,
And then if you do that, a fire truck can't get up.
Yeah.
So he had all his bases covered and in the orders, no. How could you put a fence around it? Okay? And, you know,
I
Bob,
haven't heard of any problems though. I haven't heard.
No.
No,
and until there is,
yeah.
you know, what do you do?
It's really no loss of the town either, it would be.
No, it's an individual
Yeah.
loss
Yeah,
insurance
his
problem.
customers.
and he could probably
Maintains
charge
the
more for
ground.
storage if it was secure.
Keeps it
You
nice.
know, it's-
What else? I mean,
Yeah,
And then if you think of it, that, yeah, I think the house is now yellow, where the new barn's gonna go, the new facility's gonna go. There's a big yellow house on this corner.
oh yeah, on the corner crescent.
And they
Really
park,
yellow.
they park there, it's bright yellow. The lights are on, so there's a security, yeah, I mean, you know, there's, his light's there. It would be nice to have the fence, the whole thing fenced in, yet he doesn't have to. He bought it as is. And as Becky said, the biggest thing is, whether we have fence or not, the police are gonna have the information you need. So if you call Lisa during the day and have her punch it up, how many calls they've had since the place has been there, you're probably gonna get about 0.
I know, I've heard that they caught somebody running on one of those ones, but that was like the only thing I
Hey,
heard.
Ed, they were living in a handicapped porta potty.
Porta potty on the
downtown,
common
all right?
too.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I.
2 guys were living in it.
Oh, that's cozy.
It's handy.
It's handy. It's portable if need be, and it's warm.
Yeah.
One on top and one on the floor. So, soon, they can live in this. I mean, no, but anyway. So,
We'll put all those things in.
yeah,
You know, standard.
typical
common
orders with
sense
that.
thing.
Is there any other questions about this? This is still considered.
I think it's gonna be a huge improvement.
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
just
do
hope
the
he stays
roof.
on that side, myself, I don't wanna see it. Maybe he'll be satisfied. with
But on the
Yeah,
track side, the way
Yeah.
he said, I'm still looking at that.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about it this evening. I don't see how the heck he can get there, or put it there.
It won't be easy, and
He
I
owns
just,
that house.
He owns the White House on the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. How big of a place you gonna put in, because the railroad's gonna impact it. So if we work on this side, maybe we'll forget the other side.
That's what I'm hoping.
There's a lot to do when you wanna do something up against the railroad.
Of course there is.
Oh, it's horrible.
Of course there is.
And they talk about expanding
And Damien and
The-
Jack went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
the railroad system in the future, the
could have
high-speed
it.
rails.
What's already going through Northampton.
So I'm just saying, that may come to play a little different
And they
too.
said then, some of the fire departments had taken pictures of those trains going through Northampton and up through Whately and everything, and they're quiet. You don't hear them. And they throw debris out on both sides of the tracks way.
Oh,
far
when
out.
they're the breeze, when they come through, sure.
Yeah, and that's not even high speed considering what
No.
I've ridden.
All we need is one of them diesel engines freezing up and running away like it did behind Lee's about 8-9 years ago.
West Warren
Three-
was
three
a
diesel
mess.
engines.
Remember that
It
one?
was the middle one.
I
Down
think so, yeah.
behind the
Yeah.
highway barn?
The old highway bar.
All the way down to all the way to Palmer. I mean, I still remember that. The 2 railroad cars wound up in the river.
You remember everything.
Wow. I went down, looked at it, both cars were off the bridge down in the river. I said, that was quite a job to get that out of there.
So we don't sign these, they don't have the same.
These?
Those do.
Those are that's the A and R right there. To combine, to make it a
Yeah, I
conforming
know,
lot.
but what's this?
That must have been just his.
One of the
his site
plans.
plan.
Oh,
Okay.
that's just a.
Yeah.
That's our plan. Yet we're not, there's no
This is just a
reason,
regular A and R,
Oh, okay.
Just combining them.
we can do that.
but it has to do that in
On
order
25th.
to,
Oh, I thought we were doing
We-
this tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, we
You
gotta
wanna
do
do
it
it
tonight.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying, if
Yeah.
the discussion,
She told them.
Sure.
if the discussion is over, and everybody has no problems with this, anybody have a problem with it, Ed?
No problem.
Melissa? Peter? Obviously Sue doesn't. Okay, I don't either. So, with what we've discussed, with what we heard from Mr. Berthium, representing Mark, and Mr. Woods, the surveyor, and hearing no other discussion, having their input, is everybody in favor of accepting the A&R as presented, the way it's drawn? Is everybody in favor of accepting it as is? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the A&R as written.
Is written and displayed. Okay, motion made second.
Second.
Second. Again, we're all satisfied. Hearing none, all in favor? Alrighty, Sue, I'll take the Mylar and you and Melissa can start pass and put them on Bex and I'll sign them all at the end.
Yeah, no. It's okay.
Today is the 11th, 11/15. Hey, Beck, we need one of the big fat ones. Those gets any fatter. I can't read
I
it.
know.
Jesus, I want
Do you
no, I want a 2-incher.
No.
We used to have
Can't
one
see
at
it.
Fine Point.
We
That
used to
one-
have
That's
it.
the one
That's a
that's
bit-
really.
Yeah, does that one work?
Yeah.
This thing is great, but it's like a kid.
I thought you
Nice.
guys didn't
There's
like
a
that
little-
one.
No, it's okay.
That's
Yeah.
the one that smudges.
You gotta push down on that one to activate it.
That's why they,
It's like a paint marker.
We spent 10 minutes trying to open it, one meeting, and I said, if Mark Richards was on the board, I said, Mark, click,
Yeah.
click it. He goes, he was like pulling and twisting, and
Oh.
just click it.
This one you can save for the kids.
This is a junk, right? No, that's so good.
It was.
Right.
markers,
Just
this is
smudges
good,
a
hard to
little.
sign, yeah.
How's your house, Peter?
I'm just full of snow. That's like
No,
it.
down.
Oh, down the Cape, I don't know, I gotta go down there Saturday and see what's going on. My neighbors are watching it, so I didn't hear nothing that's good.
No news is good news.
Yeah, well. Ran myself over with the snowboard the other day. That wasn't easy.
Are you all right?
No. I fell over backwards, putting it up in the shed, and I stuck my big foot underneath it, and sucked it underneath the wheel, and it went, I fell over backwards. It was all ice on the floor, and things started driving up on top of me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that wasn't pretty. Then, yeah, it gets better. I let go of it, which was the smart thing. It went down the ramp and headed straight to the car. I had to chase it when I looked. No. Yeah, that was like right out of the movies.
Well, the first night Satch had his three-wheeler when he was a kid. I'm on the phone talking to my mother, and I look out the kitchen window. And I said, oh my God. She goes, what? I said, he just ran himself over with a three-wheeler. She goes, how'd you do that? I said, it's not a dirt bike. You don't put your foot down.
Yeah, that's.
Those are terrible.
So these are our plans?
Yeah, those are our plans, or copies that he handed out for us to look at. If you wish to hang on, there'll be one in file anyway.
That's the landfill project right there. Oh my God, letter. So it's moving.
As in the
forward.
butter?
Yeah. Oh, that's what they're doing tonight down at Concom. It must be from Concom. Yeah.
What are they doing? Expanding the landfill?
No, this is-
No,
Solar.
solar.
No, solar.
Solar.
It's all solar going on top. I'll get him, Peter. Just leave him right there.
Okay.
All right,
This one here.
you need your John Hancock on the, how do you do it? You get the Form A and stuff, yeah. This is what's happening. See them?
Oh,
That's what happens to all mine working on guns. It's the fluids. He's doing this, but I got them all apart, and I got 131 all apart and soaking. And even with rubber gloves, they just split open and get infected all the time.
I used to love
Yeah,
my
but
father. And
just
I love
clean
the
it.
smell of that, the cleaning stuff.
Great. All right. Mylar signed, plans are signed, I'll sign them off, finalize them, give them to Beck. Anything else, Becky?
yeah, just an update. The CAC had sent the letter regarding the, if we had ever considered a commercial zone along 67. I got in touch with Louise and invited them to our meeting on the 11th, where we're gonna have the informational meeting. And I figured that we could talk about it at that point also. I told her, it would be too late for May. But
Yeah, there's
possibly in
just
the
no
fall.
possible
Right.
way.
No, she was
But if they
she was
wanted-
good with that. She was gonna give those dates to they have a meeting next Wednesday, the 18th. She'll get back to
We
me.
had talked about doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, always been in
I thought that was a
conversation.
whole good area.
Yeah,
We're limited though. I mean, there's not a lot of space along from town line to town line. There's not a lot.
what,
But I mean, we could try.
what we can task, a question for Bill is to get a copy, or make a copy of all the commercial property on 67 from West Brookfield line to the Palmer line.
You got bond.
Whatever,
Just get
you
it.
got one, but have them get us
A
a,
map if you could
yep, a map
identify.
identifying all the parcels of land, commercial, along 67 from West Brookfield to the Palmer line, okay? Because it's not gonna turn into, well, this one, I own this and my friend owns, no, this is what's there. And, this is just a meeting between us and them and who's ever coming in.
Yeah.
We don't need 400 people. It's
Well,
just-
Fountain's gravel pit at the end of the town
Cliffy's?
line, right?
That's
I'm
West
just-
Brookfield.
That's
Right, yeah, but it basically
West
comes
Brookfield.
over our side,
No,
where, well,
because when we tried to open it, had to get a permit from West Brookfield.
Peter, I've walked the boundary up in there, because that's where Lino's was. and
right,
John had that, and up back is, I think his name is Key or Cheng,
Yeah,
from New Jersey on Patrick Road. I've been with their attorneys and walked up in there. Cliffy's doesn't, it is all West Brookfield.
it is.
It is
So there's
all.
no chance.
It does come this way.
Right, well, they're gonna put apartments in there later, or something. They have plans for it, they told West Brookfield.
Oh,
they're
down the
planning
road?
for
Oh,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they do.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just saying that it wouldn't surprise me if it came over, just over the line, so.
there were plans at one point that where Callahan just bought, Lino's place.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a medical complex, because we had the plans drawn.
Yeah.
It was gonna be
That's,
for Dr.
that's almost 80
Rose and
acres,
everything.
Lino's.
Yeah.
It encompasses that pond way up and back.
Right.
And then it goes, if you ever walked it, it goes way in back and the creek follows all the way up and past the river and everything. I
It's
mean,
not
it's
East Road,
huge.
where does it come out on? It's, if you go all the way up back,
If you went on up to Patrick Road
yeah.
and to the house and the barn and took the cot road, it comes all the way out to Dave Spencer's back pasture.
Does it? Oh, behind there. That's where it
Behind,
comes
way
out.
behind up there.
Yeah, McCarthy's up in there. That's what I was wondering, when,
It's up-
further,
Yep.
that's where it comes out.
It's 94 total acres on Patrick Road, Cheng's, that's what it's Cheng. It's 94 total acres, and boy, it's beautiful, and then it comes back this way along the pond and the creek going up. Cliffy's come in, but there's a big distinction between that West Brookfield, that creek divides
Huh,
Warren and West Brookfield, way up and back.
yeah.
So, you know, you start right there at the sign and work our way back. You know, I don't know what Jerry owns on the right-hand side there, that little shed down back there where 5 guys live, or used to live. But, whatever there.
He sold that.
Huh? He did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Dave Terry and Steve Scavira.
Oh, Steve Cabell? Oh, all right. All right, well, there's a little property there, right next to the tracks. All right,
You were
with
thinking
that,
about doing storage sheds. I mean,
Yeah, I remember that coming up.
not a bad little place
I
right
know,
down
that's a
there.
great place.
Yeah, swing right in, pull right over the whole right-hand side, and there's a little on the left.
It was your broom factory.
Huh?
Remember that?
No,
What? Do I have one on you?
no, I don't,
The broom factory.
And the old guy that lived down in
Yeah.
the
No, I don't.
trailer.
no.
He used to, not there anymore, so he's been out for a while.
Yeah, but he lived there forever.
Well, I remember Skivington down,
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, with that,
Just the expenditure report, we're right on target, if not just a pinch over, but we'll make it to the end of the year. Our budget's been submitted, they don't have like a committee, so I don't even know what they're doing.
anybody gonna run for that one?
Be interesting. It's hard to get people. you know.
Run, volunteer, basically, submit a letter to Vinnie
What?
for FinCom.
I'm sorry?
You wanna be on FinCom?
Oh, yeah, you just submit a letter to the moderator.
Yeah.
I have enough balance in the checkbook, or iPod pad, or whatever you folks do. Keep things going. All right, anything
And,
else?
Yeah, the one last thing that was given to me tonight, and I spoke to the chair of the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, is that reference?
They are not going to pay Bill anymore without any kind of signature. He did say that if I contact somebody on the board, and I read it over the phone to you guys, and you guys approve it, I can sign off on it and put it in the warrant, but
There's been 1 or 2 occasions when Bill's payroll went up and it wasn't signed. And we
because
get
just,
it-
he submits bi-weekly.
And we get
at
it
our
the following
meetings,
week,
You know.
we get it the following week. So what's gonna happen is they're not gonna accept it unless I get a call from
Approval.
Becky, or one of us get a call, we can approve it, okay? Becky will sign, and it'll get approved. But it's not a,
Then the board still has to sign it, or? no?
the board will
Then
have
we'll
to,
ratify at our, whenever our
at our
next
next
meeting.
meeting next week,
Okay.
we just ratified that it was signed.
Kind of checks and balance to make sure someone say, okay, yeah, he was here,
Yeah.
and that's it. I can see that point, but.
And then, this.
I
This
just,
is
I don't
the
wanna be
only
put in a
one.
position to be the babysitter. I don't think that's right of the Board of Selectmen to ask me to
This
do
is
that.
the only check that happens to
No,
Right.
yeah, well,
But it's a vendor. See, it's not payroll like mine
Oh.
or anybody else here. That's payroll. He's a vendor.
private
invoice.
contractor, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's gotta be a signature, just for consistency across the board, which I certainly understand.
Yeah.
The only other way is him working out with Madeline, instead of putting it in weekly,
Yep.
put it in bi-weekly.
That's what he does,
Oh,
bi-weekly.
Well, we'll work it out, you're not gonna end up handling
I
it.
mean, like I said, I don't mind, but
It's not your job description. It
That keeps growing.
does.
yeah, pay doesn't.
Also, there was, some questions, and we discussed it with, Mr. Nardi last week, member at the board on Bill's payroll. I don't know where the, I call it the drop dead area is. Because we discuss it with one and one doesn't hear it, the one that doesn't hear it gets upset.
Yeah.
Well, we reviewed it, we questioned a couple facts about it, got answers, yet it was never passed from one to the other, so I'm not asking anybody to scrutinize, we're not gonna scrutinize. I am not, and I don't think any of you can. It's on the honor system, because he says 4.5 hours, I don't know what goes on, you can't break it down anymore, all right? So, we'll review it, look at it, if there's questions, we
And
get an
again,
answer.
I mean, I'm not leaning over the guy's shoulder.
No one
It's
is,
like,
and no one's going to,
Yeah.
okay?
Regardless, you have to pay him.
Right, it's a
No matter-
contract.
No matter
It's a
what.
contract.
Thank you. And the only other question, and the other thing is, please make sure you guys just sit down at some point and just make sure everything's going on, okay? Did well with that village when we start talking
Well,
about
we
that?
just started talking. He already had the draft going on that,
Mhm.
so.
And Becky can send him an email that way, that you people do today, asking him to get a map of from 67, one end to the other.
He's easy to get on the phone, I want you to know that. I call Bill any time of the day.
I call him all the time.
And I'm just saying that it's even more convenient than trying to isolate them here, and now we're paying for it, so.
I'm not asking for that to be done, because then everybody's gonna wanna know why.
But to me, if we're calling him, he should be marking that time down too. That's doing things for the town, you know?
Yep. Conversation is conversation. Becky doesn't need anybody calling her house anymore either. After hours, nights, days off, so if you pass the word around and people say,
You
can I
guys
call
can call
Becky?
me. I hope you guys know.
Take it off the website.
You
It's
ask-
office hours. It's office hours.
My home number's not on the website.
Jim
We'll
knows
put that up there.
Yeah.
I know, Jim is great for giving my number
He's
out.
been doing that for, oh God,
It's office hours, folks.
10, no,
Alright.
this is at home.
We can get some, and I'm sure we get discussions standing in line or down here at the bank buildings. This Barbara, that's fine. Becky is salary paid. She goes home at the end of the day. Okay? No, so we'll do it that way. Is there anything else, Becky?
No, just the next meeting's the 25th,
Yep.
and then, again, the informational meeting's on the 11th of March. Does that still work for everybody? Yeah. I'll send you that link for Survey Monkey. And then the public hearing, I'm gonna pencil in for April 22nd. For the zoning. So now the zoning will be to add, the village lot size possibly to medical marijuana, and Persky's to the MCOD.
I think Persky's.
I got in,
Approve it for that,
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah,
it was missing
he
it.
cut himself off.
Yeah, he listened to somebody probably.
I got an email today, read it from the Attorney General reference medical marijuana. DPH, Department of Public Health, is now taking a whole new stand on IDs, issuing doctors, facilities and everything else. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. I think I saved it, and I'll bring my, and you can make it, somehow get it. But it's really interesting, it came out the other day, and it's still a boondoggle. Still a boondoggle. Yet, they're not saying about the towns having a bylaw. They're not saying anything about that. It's what the state is trying to do with it. ID cards, the whole 9 yards, you know, doctors and things. It's just interesting that, and people better wake up. Because without it, you ain't gonna get it, in plain English. If the town wants it, you gotta have one. And we're not doing anything but saying, hey, the flyers go out, and see what they say to it. I'll send back. Motion, thank you very much. Motion,
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn made, second.
Second.
All in favor? Without, all right, thanks, guys. I'll finish up the.